wow, we are live once again at the Crypto and Cola Show. So thank you guys who have turned up. Appreciate you joining as always. It's Wednesday, 8 p.m. UTC, and we're going to be chatting some crypto, obviously, and also we're going to be looking at Hive and seeing what's going on within the Hive community and looking at Hive's performance. And I've listened to some of the playbacks of these shows that I've been in, and I have to say I'm going to try reducing the amount of ums I do. I do a lot of ums, and it's not good. Some people speak really fluidly, and I'm totally in awe of those people, and they come across so, I don't know. It's like who's he called? Edwin Boyette. Aloha Ed. Oh wow! Just listening to him talk, it's just soothing. You know, he's got that mannerism, that tone of voice, and I don't know what it is, but I give him credit for that. Bookerman's got quite a booming, loud voice as well. I must admit, he's got a pretty good radio voice as well. So I'm going to try reducing the amount of ums, and hopefully we can, I don't know, make this sound a bit better, at least on the playback anyway, because I just, oh no. Anyway, I hate hearing myself. I really do. But there we go. Good to see people. I'm going to just do a quick roll call. By the way, this is probably going to be a quieter show after yesterday's epic show with block trades on and the one that Buckcoins and Shadows Pub hosted. I popped in for about half an hour, 45 minutes. It was a good show actually. Block Trades was here talking all sorts of things, fascinating to listen to. So this might be a quieter show. It probably will be, given the as I say, the carnival that was yesterday. But Bookerman, good to see you. Eco, thank you for coming along. Edicted just nipped in there. Good to see you, sir. Mengeo, I hope I pronounced that right. Nice to see you too. Menno, good to see you, sir. And I think I've just heard, is that Seattle? I hope Seattle. I hope I've pronounced that.
Seattle. Hey, actually.
Fair enough. Thank you for that.
From Seattle.
Okay. Yeah. I reckon you might have been, but okay. Seattle A. Thank you for that. Good to see you. Schmoogle. Osukami, I hope I pronounced that right. Good to see you. Solo, I'm going to come to you in a moment. Obviously, the Hive, as always. Good to see you. And Sunseeker, T Sunseeker, nice to see you. Thank you for coming along. Really appreciate it. So, I'm just going to have a quick word with my new permanent co-host, which is the awesome Solo Miner. And I'm going to check in with him to see what he's been up to, because he has decided to accept my invitation to become the new permanent co-host of this show. And so I'm delighted he's done it, because obviously I think that we're going to have to build the show back up again. There's been some things going on behind the scenes, blah, blah, blah. So we're probably going to have to maybe build it back up again, but we will. I'm determined to. And I'm just going to check in with him now. So Solo, how are you, Squire? What have you been up to?
Oh man, well, today specifically, it's quite the rainy day, but it's not really keeping me down. I'm going to be hauling some firewood later, get my wood furnace all warmed up for the next coming cold days. But in general, I think it's warming up around here, and I'm hoping the crypto market as well warms up. I know we've had some big drops recently, but man, I'm hopeful. We're experiencing a bear trap right now. So I think spring's on the way, and I hope crypto spring is on the way as well.
Do you know what? I share that totally, because over here in the UK, we've been seeing some warmer weather, and my word, does it make a difference. And I just hope that can also reflect in the crypto markets. But good to see you're all right. And do you know what? You do make me jealous with all the things you do. I don't know, for some of you who probably won't know exactly what Solo gets up to, he gets up to all sorts of things, but he's also got he owns a lot of land over there in America, and he's doing some wonderful things on his land. He's growing stuff, he's building stuff. I think he's got some. Do you have some animals on your land, Solo, or not? Is it livestock or not?
No livestock at the moment. We've talked about maybe getting some goats at some point. I used to have honeybees where I lived previously, so I might bring honeybees back on. But I'm probably just going to focus on the more solitary type bees at the moment, and then get on to honeybees once I'm ready. As you usually need chickens with honeybees to keep the beetle population down. So try not to get too ahead of myself and get honeybees and just have them wiped out by small hive beetles again.
You see, there's always something to learn with Solo. You know, there's never something you won't learn either listening to him or going to his blog and reading one of his posts. You guys really should check it out, because it's such a fascinating blog. It's one of the most interesting on Hive. I'm not just saying that because I'm now biased towards Solo Miner, given he's the co-host of the show, which of course I am biased. But no, you really should. It's a fantastic blog. Bees and chickens, and yeah, it all sounds great. We'll be looking forward to seeing those posts. But we're going to come back to Solo a bit later on. He's actually going to be talking to us about. In fact, I'll let Solo introduce that. What are you going to be talking to us about later?
I'm going to be talking about my experience as a Hive witness. I'm closing in, I think, on about the 6-month mark now, and I have a story to tell. So later on, once you're ready, you just let me know, and I have some pictures to present and a narrative to give.
Oh gosh, you've built some anticipation there, haven't you? I'm liking that. Yes, absolutely. We want the stories, Eco. Damn right we do. So we're looking forward to that. Excellent. All right, I'll come back to you in a moment, Solo, and we'll listen to that. Looking forward to that. Right, I'm going to crack on then. I'm going to just chuck into the chat what the weekly Bitcoin trading chart. And my word, I mean, I know that crypto is renowned for volatility, but we're seeing some serious volatility in the past week. We have. Let me just put the chart into the chat. So there it is. It's based. I mean, a few peaks and troughs there, as you can see. Go back to, I think it was around about the start of March. Bitcoin went right the way back to 78,000. Coinbase recorded 78,000 for Bitcoin. That was a worrying moment, to be honest. I didn't know how far the decline was going to go, but fortunately, we saw a kind of rebound. Really, I'm tempted to say recovery. I'll go with rebound for now because we don't know where it's going to go next. There's all sorts going on, but then we saw it go from 78 to 95,000. Incredible volatility at the moment, just in 1 week. Tons and tons of things going on at the moment, and even now I'm still trying to work out what the root cause of it all is. But as you can see from the trading chart there, it's doing a number of things in the past week. A lot of people still going back to the Trump tariffs things, because my word, is he playing with us on these tariffs. He makes these different announcements, and it looks like they're going through. Then he may pause them, and we're seeing a lot of responses from Bitcoin as a result of these tariffs announcements. It may not just be the tariffs. It probably isn't. In fact, I know it isn't. But there we go. That's certainly one of the factors. Now, the other factor in which triggered that huge rebound was, of course, Trump's announcement about this reserve, Bitcoin and other cryptos reserve. This really triggered some excitement in the crypto sphere, and we saw Bitcoin shoot back up to 95,000. Once again, we're seeing potentially, it's not the only reason I know, but we are seeing potentially US fiscal policy, US crypto policy now. Yes, US crypto policy affecting the crypto sphere. What do you know? What do you know? So it's getting interesting. I must admit, the mainstream is encroaching into crypto more and more. So things will get interesting. Things might also get more worrying. We'll have to see how it all goes. But my word, we're seeing a lot of activity, which is, I mean, as I say, look at that trading chart. Let me just whack it in again because it's nudged up. You know, from 78,000 to 95 in 1 week. It's been an interesting week for Bitcoin. So on that note, Solo, what are your thoughts on what Bitcoin's been up to during the past week?
Oh, I think Trump's mention of the reserve they're building has had a big impact on the price. We saw a nearly $8,000 intraday increase when he mentioned it.
Yeah, I think it was 20%, wasn't it? I think it shot up 20%. Wasn't quite the biggest jump in a single day. Some people were saying it was a record. I don't think it was actually, but not far off it. I don't know if anybody knows the biggest ever jump for Bitcoin in a single day. But it went up about 20%. So that was quite a phenomenal climb. But it's important to note at this stage, we don't know what this reserve is going to look like. We don't have the details at the moment, and I want the details. We've got this summit coming up on Friday, haven't we? He's now announced a crypto summit for this Friday, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on that one for sure. So things are getting interesting in terms of the mainstream now. infiltrating the crypto sphere. This is going to happen more and more. So it's getting really interesting, all of this. In terms of how the reserve works, as I say, don't know. Really want the details on that, because otherwise it could just all be hot. Could just be the talk when we want action, and that's what we want. We want the action. In terms of how it will work, let's be honest, the US government, if they want to go balls deep into crypto, right? And now you're going to don't forget, and I'm always keen to stress this, I'm not the expert here. Okay, I'm not a novice either. I'm somewhere in between. I've been in the space now for about 7 years. So I'm no longer a novice, but I'm not the expert here. Fortunately, I'm on a platform where there are a few experts around, which is great. And that's the reason why I set this show up, by the way, is because I wanted some experts coming into the show to teach us all some stuff. But I know a bit about crypto. And what I'm trying to work out, Solo, I don't know if you can help me here, or the Hive, if you want to jump in a moment. If anybody can help me out with trying to work out what the strategy would look like. Because if the US government is going to go balls deep into crypto, and it's going to buy up or mine crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think there's about 5 that have been mentioned. Either way, if they're going to have a stack of crypto, then they're going to want to see their investment obviously increase. They want to see Bitcoin and the other tokens they've bought. They want to see those rise, obviously. So then they can pay off all that US debt. But Solo, just engage me for a moment. Is that the basic strategy here? They're going to buy up or mine or whatever they're going to do. They're going to acquire a chunk of crypto. They're going to want to see that crypto increase in market value, which will be great for all of us. And I'm not just talking 1 or 2% here. They're going to want to see a serious return on their investment, right? And that means good news for all of us for a period. Is that the basic strategy here?
Yeah, I think they're going to treat it like gold and silver and probably hodl it and hopefully see some great profits. Maybe we'll find no gold in Fort Knox, and maybe that'll be Trump's perfect excuse to say, why do we need physical gold? Let's buy virtual gold. And maybe that will be the catalyst, but you never know.
Yeah. So if that is going to be their strategy, as I say, that should mean some good days on the way for the rest of us in crypto land, right?
Yeah, the volume, if they're buying what they're talking about buying, let alone if you look at what some of the states have offered to buy, it would definitely pump the price.
Okay, and on that note, I'm glad you mentioned the individual states, because aren't they already, some of these individual US states, already in the process of setting up their Bitcoin reserve funds?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's actually a website you can track all the processes and where they're at with all those. I have a screenshot I can drop in chat here. It shows you basically the current status of each state and where they're at with their proposals. But yeah, every week there's something new to see with these.
That is an awesome screenshot. I didn't know about that. Oh, there we go. State by state race for Bitcoin. Do we know though what the but hang on a minute. What's the value? Is the value there or not?
It is, and when you go to the Bitcoin Reserve Monitor website, if you hover over each state, it'll tell you the amount.
Okay, so which state has amassed the most at the moment?
It's looking like Texas. Texas looks like they want to buy the most. Who would have guessed?
Fancy that. Oh, there we go. There's a country that holds. Okay, awesome stuff. Yes, interesting. Okay, so there we go. Venezuela, Germany. Germany's USA right at the top. No surprise there. China second. UK third.
I think Germany sold theirs. I think Germany had some that were seized, and they sold them, and then crypto shot up.
Is BlackRock still planning on making a new stock market in Texas? Well, BlackRock is involved in everything. They're buying up, and this is the worry. See, this is the worrying side of the mainstream getting involved in crypto. BlackRock, I don't know what the figure is, but I watch I follow CoinMarketCap a lot, and there's every other day there's another announcement that BlackRock has purchased such and such amount of Bitcoin, and then they purchase some more, then they purchase some more. I mean, this is as I say, the kind of worrying side. And I must admit, does it bother you, Solo, to see BlackRock buying up so much Bitcoin, or at this stage, would you prefer to see that?
I I welcome it with open arms. Someone that got involved in crypto in like 2013, these kind of things were things we only dreamed of happening. And now they're literally happening. You can see the amount of inflows that have flowed into Bitcoin and flowed out as well. So volume on both sides. But as someone that's been around 10 plus years, like I've been waiting for this for a very long time. And I think the next thing is countries are going to build crypto reserves, states are going to do the same. And it's kind of what I've been wanting this whole time.
Okay, well that's interesting because even though I appreciate what you're saying, Solo, are you not a bit concerned though that if huge corporations in the end up controlling the space, we're back to square one?
Well, how are they controlling it though? They're not the miners. The only people that control Bitcoin's consensus are the miners. This is not a proof of stake algorithm where if they had held enough, they could change the blockchain.
Okay, but do you know what the figure is of how much Bitcoin they currently hold?
Who is they?
Sorry, BlackRock we're talking about.
Oh, I'm not sure the amount, but I'm sure it's in the billions. It's a lot. They have to fund their ETF.
Okay, but generally you welcome all these developments, yeah?
Yeah, it started with the individuals, and then it started with angel investors like MicroStrategy, and then it moved on to institutional investors like you're seeing at BlackRock, Fidelity, and then you're going to see state adoption and national adoption, and we're going to Mars at that point.
Now that's what we want to hear. Okay, that is what we want to hear. Right. Okay, good stuff. Right. Before I move on, anybody else want to come in? The Hive. How are you, Squire? Anything you want to discuss? Are you there? Even the Hive. Talk to us if you're there. Give us a sign. I think he's not there. I think that was the sign of silence. Okay. Edicted, may I just pick on you for a moment? Are you there, dude? Oh dear, we've got a few ghosts in tonight. Oh
Hello?
no, he's there. He's there. Edicted, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, just a quickie, if I may. Can I just get your thoughts on what Bitcoin's been up to in the past 7 days?
I think we're still firmly in a downtrend, but the volatility is so violent that it might be signaling like a new trend. So I'm not really sure. People are like really freaking out over it, obviously.
I think violent is the right word actually. Yeah, well, people always do freak out over it, don't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah. I was really expecting to get like 77K, but that CME gap is only partially filled, so that kind of like makes me worried that we're going to go back down there, especially since we were only in that 77 to 85K range for a total of now like 5 days. That's not great. Like that's not a lot of time to be in like such a big range. We should have spent more time in that range.
Oh, you think it jumped up too quickly, do you?
Yeah, the Trump pump kind of like ruined it. Like the same thing happened during the crab market when we went from, what was it? We went from like 50K to 74K back in February 2024. And during that time, we only traded at 58K for like 15 minutes or something. And I was like, 58K was a huge level. We have to come back to that. And we're kind of experiencing the same thing now, I feel like.
Okay, so ideally then, what would you like to see Bitcoin in terms of price at the moment? What would you prefer to see it at?
I don't really care what happens this month or April. I just want to see it moon in like the summertime and like into the end of the year.
Okay, so this is interesting. We're getting into forecast territory, which is fine. I'm all for that. Some people thought maybe springtime we might see that moon happen, but you think it's going to be more summertime, yeah?
I'm also worried about the alt market. I feel like we get an alt market once Bitcoin gets out of this like toxic liquidity vortex that we're in. Because when we got to 100K, everyone started freaking out, like, oh, what if this is the top? And then like it just sucked the liquidity out of all the alts. And Bitcoin has never crabbed at all-time highs without an alt market. So everyone was like kind of depressed about that. So I think we're going to get an alt market when we hit like 120, but don't quote me on that.
Oh, damn right. I'm going to quote you on that. Okay, there we go. I'll write that down now. 120. Okay, that's good. That's nice to have something to work towards, though. It's good to have a bit of focus there. But no, okay, we won't see you or anything. It doesn't come true, but that's interesting.
If you look at the dominance, the Bitcoin dominance, it's just like the step ladder going up slowly. And every time I've seen that shape in crypto, it just takes the elevator straight down. And I feel like that's going to happen eventually. It's just going to lose all its support and all that money is going to go into alts.
Well, this is it. This is what we're all waiting for. We need that Bitcoin dominance to come down. We need all that money to flow into the alts. I hope that 120 is the figure it does it at, because you're right. When it got to 100, it was amazing. I mean, I don't understand why people get scared at that point, even though we saw it go to 108 in the end, didn't we? I think it was 108 topped out. I think.
It's because we were there. We were waiting for that for 5 years. People made memes that did laser eyes till 100K, and then that disappeared and became laser eyes till fiat dies. Like everyone was just waiting for 100K like forever. And so when it came, everyone's like, "Oh crap! I better do something here." And the only thing you can do is sell, right? Like,
oh man, these weak hands, they need to be gone. Just. Come on, if it can get to 100K, there's no reason why it can't do 1 million, right?
Yeah, the whole world is adopting it. It's like if you had gone back 4 years and been like to your previous self and been like, "Hey, BlackRock adopted Bitcoin, Fidelity adopted Bitcoin, the governments are adopting Bitcoin, the institutions are adopting Bitcoin, the banks are adopting Bitcoin. How much do you think Bitcoin's at right now?" And no one would say 100K. They'd be like, that's crazy. That's 7 figures.
Absolutely. And on that note, I've got to remind people of that tweet I've just put into the chat there. I put it in last week, and it's good to remind people of that, because that, for me, I don't know about you, Addicted. Did you see CZ put that out? That puts everything in context for me.
What are we talking about?
Just take a look at the graphic I put into the chat. Can you see it?
Let's see. Oh, CZ, right. Yeah, that happens every time. like clockwork.
Isn't it just? So, I mean, for me, I think that contextualizes it perfectly. But
we have a new breed of like paper hand, and it's going to get worse too. It used to be you get a 30% dip and everyone was like diamond hands, like just bet more. And now it dips like 10% and everyone's just freaking out. And I think it's as the space goes more mainstream, and people with weaker wills are like entering the market, they're just going to freak out more and more.
Well, this is it. They it's going to take time for them to get their education, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like it does for a lot of us who are new to the space. Let's be fair. But there you go. Yeah. Exactly.
It is very stressful. So, but it's definitely hard to get used to. Like losing half your net worth and being like, this is fine.
Yeah, you've got to have nerves of steel. Let's be honest. And some people don't quite understand that from the outset. But just like Solo put into the chat there, what old Joe said there about Bitcoin ETF never going to happen, sadly. I mean, it's so great to look back and be reminded of all these people who had such little faith in Bitcoin. It's fantastic to be reminded of this. Important, in fact. Important. And there we go, Peter Schiff there. I don't know if you can see these, Addicted, but it does. Yeah. They're great reference points.
Did you see the Peter Schiff thing where he was like, Bitcoin is digital gold, it's better than gold? Did you see that?
Oh, he's
really changed his mind over the years.
No, he was like, he rolled it back later and was like, no, I was just pretending to be someone else who was making that argument, but everyone started quoting him like, Peter Schiff flipped. It was hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
I gotta go find it.
Yeah, whack it in. I'd like to see that. Alrighty. I think I'm just going to wait to see if he did wax that in, and then we'll move on. Solo. These graphics you're whacking in. I'm so pleased you keep reference points. Have you often done this throughout your time in crypto? Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I'm like in a discussion group or I see a screenshot, I try to grab it and I keep it in my folder and I throw them out there when other people might find them interesting.
Absolutely fantastic, because these are the reference points. Thankfully, in the digital world, we do have these reference points, and they are invaluable sometimes, which is awesome, awesome.
Absolutely. The irony of it is insane. It's great to kind of look back and see what people said.
Damn right, damn right. Right, I think we've lost the digits for the moment, but I'm going to just.
I'm looking for it. I'm having trouble.
No worries. Don't worry. Okay, I'm going to just.
All right, I got it. Basically, he's talking trash on XRP, but it's just funny how he throws in Bitcoin as digital gold, which is better than analog gold.
Well, most people that don't like Bitcoin, they really hate altcoins, so I get it.
This guy, Peter Schiff, I mean, fluff. I'm not going to swear. Well, maybe I can swear. It's my show. Fuck it. Talk about ego. I mean, he's clearly trying to backtrack whilst at the same time can't admit he got it wrong in the past. Oh God, these people.
Yeah, he had just had a debate with Simon Dixon, if you know who that is, and people were like, "Oh, Simon changed his mind."
Never heard of Simon Dixon, but I mean, this guy Peter Schiff, what a creature, blimey. Look, why doesn't he just come out and say it? Do you know what? I've got it wrong. Okay, I was wrong. Put my hands up. I got it wrong about Bitcoin. No one's going to hate him for that. Just be honest about it.
Yeah, he's been complaining about Bitcoin for a good 8 years or so.
Yeah, well, he's not complaining about it now, is he?
He just can't back down now. He's committed.
Locked in, isn't he? And yeah. Oh well, there we go. Anyway, great to see these people getting these things wrong. Right, going to move on to Hive. What's Hive been up to the past week? Let's just. Oh, actually, no. One more graphic on Bitcoin, which is it's a nice one. It'll perk us up a bit. I think. I'll just keep going.
Hive has taken a hit, that's for sure. I think it's back in the 20s now.
Hang on. I'll come to Hive in a moment. It's not all bad news, but there we go. That's the Bitcoin. What it's up in the past 7 days. Okay, it's hanging around 90 grand at the moment. Pretty good, to be honest, given everything it's been through. It's up 7.26% overall on the week, so that's not a bad 7-day trading chart. Up 7.2.6 overall. Just wanted to whack that one in. Right. Yes. Okay. Let's take a look at Hive. Okay, so just whacking that in. It's not currently at 32 cents. No, it's not, sadly. But that's what it was when Bitcoin shot up to 95,000. Clearly, we're going to see the alts move in tandem. Oh, Incubus, you bought them at 32 cents. If you waited a bit longer, never mind. Anyway, but there we go. Again, another bumpy old week for Hive. We've seen it go from 32 now back down to I think it's 26 at the moment. Solo, I think. I haven't checked the exact price right now, but it's around about that. But again, reflecting. Yeah, again reflecting what Bitcoin's been up to, really. So not a great week. But if you look at that point, I know I was at that point. Overall, I haven't got the overall chart for that, but yeah, it's just this volatility. It's been reflected in Hive as well. Down a bit now, but hey, to be honest, don't forget, if we compare to the the chain that we're not supposed to mention, we've come on leaps and bounds. I think, even though it's declined somewhat, that's still, as far as I'm concerned, a relatively robust performance. What are your thoughts, Solo?
Well, it's a trash fire and it burns hot like a trash fire, but eventually burn out of fuel and become nothing but ash and will hit zero.
That didn't sound too optimistic.
We're talking about the S word here, right?
Sorry. Okay, I thought you were talking about Hive, but no, you carry on.
Oh, no, 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 no. You would see me powering down if there's any problem there.
Why do you think? I mean, look, while we're on it, we may as well just go for it, just briefly. But why do you think Hive has shot ahead, ahead of Steam? Because don't forget, up until a few months ago, Hive and Steam were almost trading at the same price. Hive was just a couple of cents more, and it had been at that position for about, I think, eight to 10 months. Why now do you think Hive has jumped ahead?
I think Hive has a lot more abuse control. There's a lot more people out there that are going to stop outflows of crypto or Hive specifically in this case. On Steam, you still see people like CryptoPie doing posts and stuff like that, and it's just going to bleed you out. And they didn't really control what was going on in their communities.
Okay. Well, hopefully we're doing something right in this community then, eh?
Absolutely, and I know a lot of people don't like downvotes, but look at Blurt. If you don't think downvotes are important, look at the rank of Blurt and then get back to me, which is a fork of Hive and Steam without downvote.
Oh, I know about Blurt and I know about well shares, and absolutely, you've got to have downvotes. You've got to have those flags. You've got to have rules that need to be enforced somehow. Otherwise, you're going to run into all sorts of problems. And on that note, Stone, I think that's probably a good time to hand over to you, because you're going to be talking about what it takes to be a good guardian of the platform, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm ready to do some talking about my witness experience. If you're ready for me to go on a spiel here, I'm ready to give it.
Yep, you go for it.
All right. Well, I've been eyeing becoming a witness for years now. I used to listen to Crimson's Clad's radio show, and she would always talk about being a consensus witness and kind of what goes into it. And at the time, you needed a very powerful server to do such a thing. And I did not have the means to power such a machine where I lived, and renting it just didn't really seem feasible. So I was watching for a very long time, and eventually I saw Gandalf's post about how you can run a witness server on a little mini PC now. Yeah, it's not going to have all the plugins that the consensus witnesses have, and it's not going to have a lot of other things, but it will get you enough to get you started as a witness. And that's where I started. I found Gandalf's guide, and I probably failed setting up a witness at least 3 times, and I finally rebuilt it and got it working. First, I had problems with the wallet in there. Then I had some problems downloading the block log and trying to use that instead of building my own. So a few times I had to start over completely. But eventually I got my witness up and I produced my first block. And I was, I think, in the top 100 or so. With my own vote, it immediately brought me up to around 100 out of 130. And from there, I started campaigning. And that's been a really interesting experience. I don't like to ask everyone to vote for me, but there are certain people that I've been really a big influence on Hive, and I definitely asked them if they'd vote for me, and most of them did. But there are definitely some people that I don't want to ask, because I think it's inappropriate to ask certain people to vote for you if you had no experience with them specifically. So I made my list and I looked at basically like who's been a big influence on me and who I've been a big influence on, and I got to writing to them, and man, now I'm in the top 50 all of a sudden. I was expecting this to take a few years. I was not expecting to get into the top 50 so quick, but here I am now. And I just wanted to talk a little more specifics about the actual running a witness. A lot of people, they don't really.
So I'm going to just jump. Hang on, Sonia. Before you do, I'm going to just jump in a moment, if you don't mind, because I don't understand why you thought it would take you so long to get into the top 50, given that overall you're a good guy, you're doing the right things, you're totally committed to Hive, you're fair, you're reasonable, you're down to earth, you reward people for good content, You're doing all the right things as far as I can see. That's exactly the type of witness we want in the top 50, isn't it?
Well, I definitely appreciate people's support. I just felt like I was running the bare minimum for a witness, and there's really no reason to vote for me versus someone that might have a more powerful a witness that has more plugins on their server. So, being such a small guy, I didn't really think people would move me up so far. But now I'm here. I'm actually considering building out bigger servers, including an API server, which would then pull records from the Hive blockchain instead of just processing the current transactions like my witness is doing now.
Okay, so hang on before we get too technical, because this is the bits I don't understand. Are you saying with that kind of expansion of your witness server, you can basically harvest more data and do more things? Is that it?
Exactly. So like when you go to your wallet tab and it takes a minute to kind of pull all your previous transactions in, my witness does not do that. It only does the current transaction. It won't pull previous transactions. Now, there is something called an API server that will. I think they also call it a half node. It has a few different kinds of names to it. But in general, the witness consensus servers handle the now, and the API servers handle the past or any kind of other thing that's not related to directly signing blocks. So that's what I'm considering building next is an API server. And that's, there's not many of them. And I want to share that in a screenshot here. We got hundreds of witnesses. We only have about 8 API servers out on Hive. And a lot of those servers may be in the same data center. So say we have like another big outage like with Hesner, maybe half those servers go down and we're down to 4 API servers. So I'm really thinking building my own and self-hosting, it will be a great way to decentralize the network a little more. And it's my way of saying thank you. And I just wanted to do what I can as everyone's moved me up so quick. I kind of want to return the favor now.
Well, that if you can expand like that's awesome. Also, a bit worrying that we've got such few API servers, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but you can tell the people that are running them are a lot of the consensus witnesses. So I think that's the reason why they are a consensus witness. Well, not only they're a developer on the Hive blockchain, but they run a lot of extensive hardware, including backup witnesses and all those kind of things that not a general witness like me have. They have a lot more infrastructure, and that's probably why they are where they are right now.
Okay, so just on that note, just elaborate, can you, on the distinction between the two? Would you mind?
Between like a witness server and an API server?
No, a consensus witness and a general witness. Wasn't that the distinction you were making just then?
Yeah, so a consensus witness is someone that is going to be mostly handling the blocks. So every few seconds, a block is generated, and for the most part, a consensus witness, which is in the top 20, they're going to process those blocks. There is a slot for a backup witness that is then rotated based on your rank. So since I'm number 49, well, thank you very much, number 48 now, appreciate it. But basically, I'm harvest blocks now about once an hour versus someone that might be a little lower up on the rank, might be every 6 hours. And as you get closer to that 20, you'll be producing blocks faster and getting more rewards.
Okay. Interesting. So this is why then the top 20 witnesses are the most powerful. Is that the right word?
Yeah, they're doing 99% of the confirmations. The backup witnesses are only handling that once versus the consensus witnesses are doing it most of the time.
Okay. Interesting. We did not know that. So in terms of the work that you're doing, I mean, every few seconds you're witnessing blocks, aren't you? You're producing blocks, aren't you?
About once an hour right now. If I was a consensus witness, it would be every few seconds, yes. But right now, it's about once an hour, and it used to be about once every 6 hours when I first started. So your ranking greatly affects how quickly you'll get the next block.
Yeah, it sure does. So, how do you intend to get into the top 20, Solo?
Well, I'm going to keep staking. I think showing that you have skin in the game is really valuable. So I'm going to keep adding to my stake. I might get upwards of 1,000,000 HP if we get into the right circumstances with the market. Besides that, I really want to build out an API server and show that I'm serious about hosting more of Hive's data and not just running a little mini PC that handles blocks every hour or so. And hopefully doing shows like this and working with you and just showing that I'm a serious Hive user.
Oh, well, you are. I think you've demonstrated that. But also with your game, being a witness, you've got to get those votes, haven't you? You've got to win over people's favor, haven't you?
Absolutely. And that's where I went on my campaign, and I contacted many people on Discord when I first started. I'm like, hey, you remember me? I'd appreciate it if you could vote for me. If you have a free slot, I don't want to step on anyone else. But in many cases, they had someone with like a stale price feed or had an inactive witness, and they definitely changed their vote over for me. And I really appreciate that. As I don't want to push someone else out, but if they have unused votes, by all means, I appreciate it.
Well, this is it. Look, there's going to be an element of competition, isn't there? And you're going to have to just manage that, aren't you? It's just that's all part of the game, no?
It is. I've seen that in mining early on. Bitcoin Talk, which is a forum I've been a member of for over a decade, early on, people would complain if you showed people how to mine. They'd be like, why are you doing that? You're now affecting the reward pool. You're taking money out of other people's pockets. But people are going to learn how to do these things. Keeping it a secret or trying to be the gatekeeper is just not a good idea.
Okay, I have.
No, exactly.
One
The Hive, your mic is really quite bad at the moment. Are you near it?
Sorry, that bad.
That's better, yeah.
Okay, I've got a dodgy connection, so I'm going to try. Solo's here in the server, been here for a week, not just as a host today. He's here, now he's a witness. But he's the one that's interacting with us all the time. So
Interaction is key. It totally is. And I think a lot of witnesses out there, they aren't interacting, and that's really important to interact with people on Hive. This is a social media platform. Don't forget it.
I think the Hive was trying to say something. He's got problems with his mic. I think he's typing at the moment.
Yeah, it's breaking real bad.
Okay, that's fine. But like he says, yeah, exactly. Connectivity, socializing effectively. But I mean, don't forget. Look, I guess what I think the point he was making is interaction. And Solo, let's be honest, you even with this show, you've been engaged from the outset. You want to see people engage. You want this individual server to be active again, and that was part of my original idea to set this show up. And you were really behind it because this is all part of getting Hive out there. It's all part of seeing Hive succeed, isn't it?
Exactly. You need to make sure people know you're a human and not a bot, because it's so easy to kind of disappear here and be anonymous. At the same time, you have to show your human aspects and show you're a person and not just a construct.
Absolutely. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, the approach you've taken, and again, I'm not trying to be biased now that you're the co-host of this show, because I've known you since very early on joining. This I'm not brown nosing.
No, we go way back. I know you from the Pulse Discord. I remember you in there. I remember people calling you PZ and all those things.
Exactly. So I've known Solo for about, I think, a good 6 months now. Really, don't forget, I'm relatively new to Hive. I'm relatively new to Hive, but Solo was I could see he was one of the good guys from the outset, and he's I think he puts in an incredible effort when it comes to Hive, not just as a witness, but just in his own blog, just in his own approach to this whole awesome platform. So it's all part of what we've got to do, and I think you've, as a witness, which is something I have no experience of, I think your approach has been very positive overall. I would say very constructive, very engaging. So it's great to see witnesses coming to this level, I would say, where we can get to know you, where we can talk to you on a daily basis, almost, if we want, and being so active with your blog. I mean, blimey, and doing all you do, where do you find the time?
I tend to try to have a schedule where I'll post like every other day. When I was posting every day, I started getting downvoted, so I figured I should probably back off to every other day. And I can't always do that. Sometimes I just have too much work come up. Like we had back-to-back snowstorms, and I was so busy outside shoveling snow, I just couldn't find myself to come in and do any work when I was cold in the house.
Yeah, well, you've got your log burner, haven't you, for that, to sort that out? Is it log burner you've got?
It keeps me warm, but sometimes things are so busy on the farm, I have to take like a week off. But I try to post every other day. That's my goal, and I try to create like a post that has some good images in it. It has some good text, some good formatting, and in general, I try to do quality over quantity on my posts.
Oh, absolutely. I would say that. And I think that's a good rhythm, actually, once every other day. I think that's probably a good rhythm to have. I mean, given the effort you do put into each individual post, that must take you a fair bit of time.
It does. I try to respond to every comment I get. It really bothers me when I like watch YouTube videos and people are asking questions to those creators and they don't respond. And that always bothered me. So I try to always respond to a comment, unless it's just like a token bot. Like I'm not going to respond to that. But anything that people say as a statement or a question, I try to acknowledge it.
Oh man, I forgot about that part as well. Yes, that's another thing I didn't mention. I mean, you are. I don't think I know anybody who's so consistent with their responding with messages. And you get quite a few on your posts, let's be honest. But again, all these things, they help to just helps with that engagement overall with the community, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think if someone is going to take the time to leave me a comment, I should definitely give them a moment and respond, as they took time out of their day to say hi. And I think it's important not to take that for granted.
Okay, I'm going to just pick up on what Menno just asked there. That's an interesting question. Can a witness be a terrible politician but be a good witness? Can you answer that? I'm going to take that as a no. Solo's gone quiet. I don't know if he knows how to answer that question. Menno, you stumped him there with that question.
I just try to be neutral. I wouldn't say I'm a good or a bad person. I'm pretty neutral. If you were to look at like the D&D alignment scale, I'm like a true neutral.
True neutral, eh? Politicians, though, I don't know. They're not allowed to be neutral, are they?
No, they're like what is that? Evil good, or was it lawful evil or something?
I don't know, but Menno, I hope that's given you part of the answer to your, or if not all of the answer to your question. I mean, in terms of politics, just while we are touching on it, once again, we're seeing, like we've never seen before, US fiscal policy impacting cryptosphere. But I would also now argue, potentially even US foreign policy impacting the cryptosphere. I don't know if you noticed or watched or followed any of the Bitcoin patterns, price patterns, and the movements when Trump announced that they were halting all military aid to Ukraine. A little bit of a wobble there, but again, I don't know if you can attribute that directly to government policy, but do you think now we're moving into that kind of space where even non-fiscal stuff could impact crypto when it comes to government policy?
Absolutely. Look, I cannot tell you how many times over the 10 years I've been in crypto, China said they banned Bitcoin and the market dropped. And then they unbanned Bitcoin. And then they banned Bitcoin. And every time it causes the price to drop. And I'm just, anytime people say, oh, did you hear China ban Bitcoin again? I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. That is a classic example. Absolutely. Another example I also thought was when Elon Musk decided to get into Bitcoin, and then he put out some weird statement saying, "Oh, I didn't realize how you mine it, and it's not good for the environment, so I'm now pulling out of Bitcoin." And then he went back into Bitcoin. Do you remember this?
Yeah, and that's ridiculous because if you look at the amount of power like the economic system uses with servers and data centers, Bitcoin mining is a drop in the bucket compared to what data centers for Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo use.
So overall, I mean, just for a moment while we entertain the idea, if we're coming from that environmental perspective, in terms of mining, you're pro, I assume, yeah.
Absolutely. I think proof of work, even though it's crude and it's old and it's not energy efficient, it is highly resistant to many things that we've seen even in the Hive ecosystem. Look at what happened during the hostile takeover. You can't do those kind of things in Bitcoin. The only way you could is you'd have to have 51% of the hash rate. And I tell you what, good luck with that these days.
Okay. Getting a bit technical for me, but yes, no, I get the point. 50%, 51% of attacks on Bitcoin don't work either. Addicted. Can you just elaborate?
okay.
What's that?
What you just said there, 51% of attacks on Bitcoin don't work either. What did you mean by that?
I've written about this a couple times, but because Bitcoin is so big, if someone 51% attacks it, they can't do it anonymously. So it has to be like a huge entity, a huge known entity, and everyone will know what they're doing and it's illegal. So like everyone in the world will be able to see, hey, BlackRock's 51% attacking Bitcoin, they're breaking the law. So, and the only way to 51% attack Bitcoin is to hack an exchange, put Bitcoin on the exchange, basically trade it for something, withdraw that crypto to your wallet, and then roll back the Bitcoin chain so that you double spent it. So you have your Bitcoin and you have what you traded it for. That's stealing, and everyone can see that you did it. So it won't work because you have to be so big and so public about it that like you will go to trial and you will lose for sure. It's like guaranteed.
I agree. The Bitcoin network is the biggest computing network in the world by far none.
Okay. Interesting stuff. The Hive, what is it you want me to... I'm sorry, you did. Were you trying to come in?
Yeah, there's just a bunch of math nerds out there that are like, well, technically you can attack it this way, and it's like, no, that's not how that's how the theory works. That's not how the reality works. Like, I had an example floating around in my head, but I just blanked on it. Like the wrench attack. Like the wrench attack. It's like this. Have you seen that meme where the nerd is like, I've got all this super cool encryption and no hacker's ever going to get me, and then the robber just comes up with a wrench and it's like, go hit him with the wrench a couple times, he'll tell us the password. Like that's what it's like.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Just going to quick. We're running out of time. Sorry to move on quickly, but okay, the Hive. I will ask Solo. I have no problem with that. Your views for a new DHF, Solo, or your views on DHF?
The DHF, there's definitely some interesting things going on. Block trades, a return proposal reduction. So a lot of things got funded again that funding stopped on. I don't really have any big concerns about the DHF. I did notice the Leo Finance proposal is about to be funded. I'm not a supporter of that project, but if other people want to vote for them, that's their business, that's their stake. But in general, I'm more against the value plan idea than the DHF. If anything, I think value plan should go in the DHF.
Okay, so if you fuse the two together, you mean, yeah?
Yeah, there'd be more accountability. Right now, with value plan, you just have the gatekeepers of the plan deciding who gets funding and who does not. Versus with the DHF, you have to write a post, what you're going to do, and you have to seek funding. And I think that has worked fine. And I just don't really see how value plan is decentralized at all.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I need to look more into that because, as I just mentioned earlier, I'm 6 months into this platform and I know there's a lot of stuff going on around this, but I still don't feel like I fully have enough knowledge about this subject to pass or draw conclusions. So I'm gonna sit on the fence. Sorry to do that, but I am for the moment. I've still got more to research on it, but the concept. I'm assuming you appreciate the concept. You back the concept, yeah, or not?
I back the concept of value plan for, I guess, paying people in untraditional ways where you have a static offer amount and a set amount of time you're going to pay for it. That's how it's been explained to me. Value plan is used for more dynamic situations where the negotiations of amounts change. And that's why they need a more fluid, a more custodial system to handle those funds. But my response would be just don't support those type of business propositions. If they can't give you a static offer to a set amount of time, don't take it. And yeah, you might lose some people that want to have access to value plan, but I think we really need transparency, and I think it needs to be up to the vote of stakeholders, not just some senior Hivians that everyone considers they trust.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm almost hearing like you'd probably like to see it democratized a bit more. Is that it?
Yeah, because value plan's not up to vote. It's up to suggestion at best. And it's not really something where if you have any stake, you get to decide over. The the DHF is the exact opposite. It's not only highly transparent, but you have to have stake to vote for things, and you can convince people to vote for it or not to vote for it, which you cannot do with value plan.
Okay. Right. I mean, I do hear so much discussion and suggestions about the DHF and value plan, and it's going to be the source of a lot more conversations to come and contention, I dare say. I just saw a question actually, Solo. It's not for me, it's for an IT person. I'm going to ask you, or a witness. Manclar, there it is. He asked, if the Cloudflare DNS were blocked, would Hive blockchain front ends be affected? Can you answer him quickly?
Well, it depends if you're using their DDoS protection. Cloudflare offers DDoS protection for their clients. And yeah, obviously, if you were being attacked and you lost that protection, you're probably going to get denial of service attack. But I don't use Cloudflare, and I have not been DDoS attacked on my server yet. Knock on wood, I guess.
Manclar, I hope that gives you the answer that you want. The Hive, did you quickly want to come in with anything else there at all? Is your mic a bit better now? Did you want to say anything?
I've got a dodgy Discord, so we'll out. No, that was grand. I wanted to hear say.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that was grand, and I appreciate the question. So that's what are we now? Yeah, 5 past. That brings us more or less to the end of the show. Our hour is up. Blimey, that flew by. Does anybody else, before I wrap up, want to come in with anything at all before I go to Solo for our parting comments? Does anybody else want to come in with anything else at all? Oh, Edicted got a question there. Can you DDoS a normal witness node?
I'm not sure. I have heard about poisoned blocks or stale blocks. So maybe there's some way you can like send a witness node invalid information, which would kind of be a form of DDoS. Usually DDoS is more just flooding the network level with too many connections. But something a little more scripted and engineered would probably be like building malformed packets that a witness would run. But it's never happened to me.
Good stuff. And on that merry note, Solo, I think we are done here. We came and we conquered, didn't we?
Absolutely. I had a lot of fun, Piece of Money. So thanks for having me on for the first show as your permanent co-host. Obviously, if I change my mind, I will let you know, but I'm having fun and let's continue doing this.
That's okay. I sincerely hope you don't change your mind. And if you do change your mind, there's going to be a serious discussion at that stage. But no, I understand if you've got other things. If you have other commitments, of course, I'd understand. But hopefully you're going to be with us for some time to come. But I'm delighted you are the new permanent co-host. It's good to have you on board.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the Crypto and Cola show.